Dr. Elena Morales stared through the microscope at what should have been impossible. The cellular structure before her defied every principle of biology she'd studied during her 15 years at the forefront of genetic research. The sample had appeared mysteriously in her private lab that morning, accompanied only by an unmarked drive containing data that made her question her sanity. "What are you?" she whispered, adjusting the magnification. The cells pulsed with bioluminescence, restructuring themselves before her eyes at a rate that would make cancer cells seem lethargic. The genetic code contained impossible sequences, triple helixes where double should exist, nucleotides that matched no known pattern. A soft hum filled the laboratory, growing steadily louder. Elena looked up as the lights flickered and died. Even her equipment, running on backup power, went dark. Only the strange sample continued to glow, casting an eerie blue light across her face. "Dr. Elena Morales," a voice said from behind her. "Your work has drawn our attention." She turned slowly, her heart hammering against her ribs. The figure standing in her laboratory doorway was tall, nearly 7 feet, with silvery skin that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. Its eyes were large, entirely black, and set in a face that was almost human, yet fundamentally wrong in proportions. "Who are you?" Elena managed, reaching blindly for something, anything, to defend herself with. "I am Commander Thaxer of the Arctarian Collective," the being said, its mouth not quite syncing with the words. "And you are going to help us survive." Before Elena could respond, the world around her dissolved into fractals of light. When reality reassembled, she found herself in a vast chamber of curved metal walls that hummed with energy. Through a translucent viewport, the impossible sight of Earth, a blue marble suspended in blackness, confirmed her worst fears. "Please remain calm," Thaxer said, approaching with what might have been intended as a reassuring gesture. "Your biological functions indicate extreme stress." "You've abducted me," Elena said, struggling to keep her voice level. "Return me to Earth immediately." "That is not possible. Your expertise is required." Thaxer gestured, and a holographic display materialized between them. "Our species faces extinction. Our genetic structure is degrading after millennia of engineered evolution. We require fresh genetic material and expertise in recombinant DNA technology." The display showed simulations of DNA strands merging, human and Arctarian, creating something new. "You want to create hybrids," Elena whispered, professional curiosity momentarily overriding her fear. "But why soldiers? Why not just survive?" Thaxer's expression shifted subtly. "Because survival requires strength. The Nexari come, they have hunted us across 17 systems. Earth will be next, with or without our presence." Another Arctarian entered, this one slightly smaller and with more feminine features. "The laboratory is prepared, Commander," she said. "This is Chief Scientist Vex," Thaxer explained. "She will assist your work." "I haven't agreed to anything," Elena said firmly. Thaxer's expression hardened. "Your cooperation is preferred but not required. We can extract the knowledge directly, though the process would be unpleasant and less precise." Elena thought quickly. Forced collaboration would give her time to understand their technology, perhaps even find a way to communicate with Earth. "I'll need samples," she said finally. "Complete access to your genetic database. And test subjects." "All will be provided," Thaxer said, something like relief crossing his alien features. "The fate of 2 species now rests in your hands, Dr. Morales. The Genesis program begins today." As Elena followed them deeper into the ship, she committed every turn to memory. Whatever these Arctarians wanted, she would find a way to protect humanity, even if it meant creating something that was neither human nor alien. But 6 months had passed since Elena's abduction. The laboratory aboard the Arctarian vessel had become her world, a prison of gleaming metal and advanced technology that both fascinated and terrified her. She'd grown accustomed to the hum of the ship's engines, the artificial day-night cycle, and even the otherworldly presence of her alien colleagues. Subject 7 is showing remarkable stability, Elena noted, recording data on the holographic interface she'd mastered weeks ago. The telomeres aren't degrading despite the accelerated growth rate. Vex moved beside her, silver skin catching the blue light of the incubation chambers. Your modifications to the mitochondrial structure were ingenious. Elena didn't acknowledge the compliment. Despite months of collaboration, she maintained emotional distance from the Arcturians. Every scientific breakthrough was both a step toward potential freedom and a betrayal of her species. Ares is ready for cognitive assessment, Thaxter announced, entering the laboratory. His commanding presence still made Elena tense, though she'd learned to hide it. Ares, Subject 7's designation name, had been the first successful hybrid to survive gestation. Now, despite being only 4 months old, he had the physical development of a teenager and the cognitive abilities to match. Elena had insisted on naming the subjects after mythological figures, a small act of humanity in this sterile environment. The incubation chamber drained its amniotic fluid and opened with a pneumatic hiss. Ares stepped out, his muscular body glistening with residual fluid. His skin held a faint silver sheen beneath a human tone, and his eyes, startlingly violet, assessed the room with unnerving intelligence. "Dr. Morales," he said, his voice deeper than expected. "I dreamed again." Elena approached him, wrapping a thermal blanket around his shoulders. "Tell me about it," she said, guiding him to the examination table while surreptitiously checking his vital signs. "I was on a planet, Earth, I think. I was running through forests, feeling soil under my feet." His expression became troubled. "Then there was fire. Screaming. I was fighting something." Thaxter exchanged glances with Vex. "The genetic memory is manifesting. Earlier than anticipated." Elena had discovered this phenomenon weeks ago. The Arcturians had encoded selected memories into the hybrid's DNA, preparing them for combat before they'd even experienced consciousness. It was elegant biotechnology and profoundly disturbing. "The others are stabilizing as well," Elena reported, changing the subject. "Athena and Apollo show particularly strong telepathic abilities." The telepathy had been an unexpected development, a synergy between human intuition and Arcturian psychic potential. It had appeared in the second generation of hybrids and strengthened with each new subject. "Excellent," Thaxter said. "We've detected Nexari scout ships at the edge of your solar system. We may have less time than anticipated." Elena felt a chill run through her body. "You said we had years." "Circumstances change in war, Doctor," Thaxter replied coldly. "Accelerate the final phase." After he left, Elena continued examining Ares while processing this disturbing news. In her 6 months aboard, she'd managed to secretly access parts of the Arcturian database, enough to know they weren't being entirely truthful about the Nexari threat. "He's afraid," Ares said quietly. Elena looked up sharply. "What?" "Commander Thaxter. I can feel it. Not just concern, fear." Ares' violet eyes met hers. "Why would he fear the Nexari if we're being created to defeat them?" Elena glanced at the surveillance nodes in the ceiling corners. Lowering her voice, she replied, "Intelligence is about asking the right questions, Ares. Keep asking them." That night, in her quarters, Elena reviewed her secret findings. The Nexari weren't simply the aggressors Thaxter had described. According to fragmented records she'd decrypted, they were a collective of species who had once been subjected to similar genetic experiments by the Arcturians. They weren't hunting the Arcturians for conquest, they were seeking justice for ancient violations. The door to her quarters slid open without warning. Elena quickly closed the hidden interface, but not quickly enough. Commander Thaxter stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable. "Your access to restricted files is concerning," he said. Elena stood, maintaining her composure despite her racing heart. "As is your dishonesty about our purpose here." Thaxter stepped inside, allowing the door to close behind him. "The full truth would have compromised your cooperation." "You're not creating soldiers to save your species," Elena said. "You're creating weapons to continue your dominance." "Perspective is subjective," Thaxter moved closer. "The Arcturians have guided lesser species for millennia." "Experimented on them, you mean?" "Enhanced them," he corrected. "As we've enhanced you." Elena froze. "What? Did you think your remarkable insights were merely human intuition?" Thaxter's voice softened. "You were chosen not only for your expertise but for your genetic compatibility. The treatments in your food, the atmospheric adjustments in your quarters, they've been preparing you." "For what?" Elena asked, though she already suspected the horrifying answer. "The hybrids respond to you because you share elements of their makeup now," Thaxter said. "You're becoming something more than human, Elena. And soon, you'll understand why that's necessary." As if on cue, a sharp pain lanced through Elena's skull. She clutched her head, gasping as images flooded her mind: stars, planets, civilizations rising and falling under Arcturian guidance. "What have you done to me?" she whispered. "Given you perspective," Thaxter replied. "Tomorrow, we begin the final phase. The children need their mother for what comes next." As he left, Elena collapsed to the floor, her mind reeling not just from the pain but from the implication. She wasn't just the creator of these hybrids, she was becoming one of them. And somehow, she needed to use this transformation to save both herself and the children she'd brought into existence before they became the weapons Thaxter intended. In the incubation chamber across the ship, Ares opened his eyes in the darkness, feeling Elena's distress through their growing connection. Beside him, Athena and Apollo awakened as well. Without speaking, they shared a single thought: something was wrong with their creator, their mother. And soon, they would need to choose sides in a conflict they were born to fight. The neural link chamber pulsed with blue light as Elena connected her mind to the ship's systems. 3 months had passed since Thaxter's revelation, and the changes within her had accelerated. Silver streaks now ran through her dark hair, and her eyes had developed a violet hue similar to Ares. The genetic modifications had enhanced her intellect dramatically, allowing her to master Arcturian technology with unprecedented speed. "Nexari fleet has breached the outer defense perimeter," reported an Arcturian officer over the ship's communication system. "Estimated arrival at Earth in 48 hours. Elena opened her eyes, breaking the neural connection. She turned to find Ares watching her from the doorway. In just 9 months since his birth, he had matured to the equivalent of a 20-year-old human, his powerful physique a perfect blend of human flexibility and Arcturian strength. "They're coming, aren't they?" he asked, his deep voice echoing in the chamber. "Yes," Elena replied, standing up on slightly unsteady legs. "Thaxter is mobilizing the Genesis battalions." Ares stepped forward to support her. The physical contact triggered their telepathic connection, and Elena immediately sensed his inner conflict. "You've seen more of the records," she realized. "Athena helped me bypass the security protocols," he admitted. "We've learned what the Arcturians did to the Nexari worlds. The genetic harvesting, the forced evolution programs." His violet eyes met hers. "Is that our destiny? To continue their cycle of domination?" Elena glanced toward the surveillance nodes before taking Ares' arm and guiding him toward the hybrid quarters, where she knew Thaxter's monitoring was less comprehensive. "We need to talk to the others." The hybrid quarters buzzed with nervous energy. 28 successful subjects now lived in the communal space, each displaying unique combinations of human and Arcturian traits. Athena stood at the center, her silver-streaked black hair framing a face of otherworldly beauty. Beside her was Apollo, whose skin could shift color slightly to match his surroundings. Diana and Hermes were engaged in combat practice, their movements too swift for normal human eyes to follow. Dar. Morales, Athena said, her telepathic abilities immediately sensing Elena's purpose. You've made a decision. We all need to, Elena replied, addressing the room. The Nexary will reach Earth soon. Thaxter expects you to defend the planet, but on his terms, as weapons under Arcturian control. And the alternative? Asked Hermes, his quicksilver movements stilling as he focused on her. Freedom, Elena said simply. For you, for Earth, and perhaps even for the Nexary. She activated a holographic projector she'd modified, displaying stolen schematics of the Arcturian ship. There's a communications array here, she pointed. If we can take control, we could open a direct channel to the Nexary fleet. Negotiate rather than fight? Apollo questioned, his skin shifting to a thoughtful blue hue. The Nexary were victims, like you're intended to be, Elena explained. Their ancestors were experiments that rebelled against Arcturian control. History doesn't need to repeat itself. Ares stepped forward. What about you, Elena? Your genetics are changing too. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to her. Elena had considered this question during her sleepless nights. I'm caught between worlds now, not fully human anymore, but not what Thaxter intended either. My loyalty is to Earth and to all of you. The moment was interrupted by a ship-wide alert. Thaxter's voice echoed through the chamber, all Genesis subjects to combat preparation. Earth defense protocols initiated. Elena locked eyes with Ares. It's happening sooner than expected. We need to act now. We're with you, Athena said, and the others nodded in agreement. As they moved to leave, the doors to the hybrid quarters sealed shut. Thaxter's voice came again, this time only in their chamber. Did you think we wouldn't monitor your evolving thoughts, Dr. Morales? Your connection to our systems works both ways. Gas began hissing into the room from hidden vents. Elena recognized the compound, a neural suppressant designed specifically for the hybrid's unique physiology. Hold your breath, she shouted, but already several of the younger hybrids were collapsing. Ares smashed his fist against the sealed door, the metal denting but not breaking. Athena and Apollo combined their telekinetic abilities to try to seal the vents, but the gas was filling the room too quickly. Elena felt her consciousness fading when a tremendous explosion rocked the ship. The doors blew inward, and through the smoke and gas came figures in advanced combat suits. Dr. Elena Morales, called a voice through a filtered mask. I'm Major James Daniels, Earth Defense Force. We're here to extract you. Elena struggled to remain conscious. How? We've been tracking Arcturian communications since your disappearance, Daniels explained, helping her up. When they moved into Earth orbit, we launched our strike. The hybrids, Elena gasped. They need to come too. They're not our enemies. Daniels hesitated, looking at the humanoid figures with their silver-tinged skin and unnatural eyes. Those weren't our orders, Doctor. Then change them, Elena said firmly, despite her weakened state. They're as much victims as I am. Before Daniels could respond, the ship rocked with another, more violent explosion. An Arcturian voice announced over the communication system, Nexary vessels have breached the hull. Prepare for boarding. The situation had just become infinitely more complicated. Three forces now converged on the Arcturian vessel, the Earth Defense Force team, the approaching Nexary, and Thaxter's loyal Arcturians. Ares had recovered faster than the others, his enhanced physiology processing the gas more efficiently. He looked at Major Daniels with determination in his violet eyes. You need us. None of you can stand against both the Arcturians and the Nexary. Daniels' team exchanged glances, clearly weighing their limited options. Finally, the Major nodded. "Get them all moving. We have a transport vessel docked in Section 4. As they hurried through the corridors, Elena supported Athena while Ares carried two of the younger hybrids. The sounds of combat echoed from distant sections of the ship. The Nexari had engaged the Arcturian defense forces. They turned a corner and found themselves face to face with Commander Thaxer and a squad of Arcturian soldiers. "Disappointing, Elena," Thaxer said, his black eyes reflecting the emergency lighting. "After everything we shared, everything I gave you." "You tried to make me a tool," Elena replied, her voice steady despite her fear. "Just as you tried to make them weapons." "I tried to elevate you," Thaxer countered. "To make you more than human. Look at yourself, you're already transforming into something greater." Major Daniels raised his weapon. "Step aside. We're taking Dr. Morales and these people home." Thaxer smiled coldly. "Home? The hybrids have no home on Earth. Humans will fear them, hunt them. They belong with their own kind." "We are our own kind," Ares said, stepping forward. "Neither human nor Arcturian. And we choose our own path." As tension built to a breaking point, an eerie sound filled the corridor, a high-pitched harmonic that made the humans cover their ears in pain. The bulkhead behind Thaxer's group exploded inward, and strange figures poured through the breach. The Nexari had arrived. Their forms were diverse, evidence of the many species the Arcturians had manipulated over millennia. Some were insectoid, others reptilian, but all moved with deadly precision. In the chaos that followed, Elena lost track of Thaxer. Ares and the other hybrids formed a protective circle around the humans, their enhanced abilities making them formidable even against the Nexari. "This way!" Daniel shouted, pointing toward an emergency access tunnel. As they fought their way toward the Earth transport, Elena realized that the future had become desperately uncertain. The hybrids were now caught between three worlds, the Arcturians who created them, the humans who feared them, and the Nexari who might see them as abominations. Whatever happened next, there was no going back to the life she once knew. The awakening had begun, not just for the hybrids, but for humanity, which would soon face the reality that they were not alone in the universe, and that the line between human and alien was no longer as clear. The Earth Defense Force bunker, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, hummed with activity. 1 month had passed since the chaotic escape from the Arcturian vessel. Elena stood before a wall of monitors displaying worldwide defense preparations against both the Arcturian ships in orbit and the Nexari fleet holding position just beyond the moon. "They're in a standoff," Major Daniels explained, gesturing to the tactical displays. "The Nexari outnumber the Arcturians, but they're hesitating to engage so close to an inhabited planet." Elena studied the formations. Her enhanced vision, another gift from Thaxer's genetic modifications, allowed her to process the data more quickly than the human analysts. "They're not just hesitating. They're waiting." "For what?" asked General Rivera, the stern-faced commander of Earth's hastily assembled Unified Defense Force. "For us to choose sides," said Ares, entering the command center alongside Athena. Both wore the specialized containment suits developed for them, designed both to regulate their unique biology and to make them less frightening to the humans around them. General Rivera's expression hardened. The military leadership remained deeply suspicious of the hybrids, keeping most of them in a specialized containment facility. Only Ares and Athena, as the most stable and human-appearing of the group, had been permitted limited access to strategic planning. "We don't negotiate with either alien force," Rivera stated firmly. "Earth stands alone." "Earth will fall alone," Athena replied calmly. "Your most advanced weapons are toys compared to Arcturian technology, and the Nexari have spent centuries developing countermeasures for even those." Elena intervened before tensions could escalate further. "General, we need to consider all options. The hybrids understand both sides of this conflict in ways we can't. And where do their loyalties lie, Dr. Morales? Rivera asked pointedly. With us? Or with their alien parentage? Our loyalty is to survival, Ares answered. Yours, ours, and Earth's. A junior officer interrupted, approaching with a tablet. Dr. Morales, we're receiving a transmission. It's specifically requesting you by name. The main screen flickered, and Commander Thaxter's face appeared. Elena felt a chill run through her modified body. Their connection, both the genetic bond he had forged and the more personal relationship that had developed during her captivity, still resonated within her. Elena, Thaxter said, his black eyes seeming to look directly into hers despite the distance. It's time to end this impasse. By surrendering your vessels and leaving our system? General Rivera interjected. Thaxter ignored him, focusing on Elena. The Nexari will not negotiate with humans. They see you as unconsenting test subjects in Arcturian experiments, which, in a way, you have been for centuries. What do you mean? Elena asked, though part of her already suspected the answer. Why do you think human DNA was so compatible with ours? Thaxter's expression softened slightly. Earth was seeded by Arcturian explorers millennia ago. Human evolution was guided. You are distant children of our species. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. That's irrelevant now, Elena finally replied. What matters is ending this conflict without Earth becoming collateral damage. Precisely why I've contacted you, Thaxter said. The hybrids are the key. They represent the next stage of both our species, a perfect integration of Arcturian advancement and human adaptability. Ares stepped forward. We're not your weapons, Thaxter. Not weapons, Thaxter corrected. Mediators. The Nexari will respond to you because you carry human DNA they wish to protect. The Arcturians will listen because you carry our future within you. And afterward? Elena pressed. If we help broker this peace, what happens to the hybrids? Thaxter's expression became unreadable. They would be welcomed among the Arcturian collective as equals. As would you, Elena. Your transformation continues even now, you feel it, don't you? The expanding awareness, the connection to something greater than your former self. Elena didn't need to answer, they both knew it was true. Each day brought new changes, new abilities that distanced her further from her human colleagues. The silver in her hair had spread, and the violet in her eyes had deepened. She could sense the hybrid's thoughts more clearly than spoken words, particularly Ares. This is manipulation, Major Daniels cut in. He's trying to divide us. Perhaps, Elena acknowledged. But there's truth in what he says. The hybrids could be bridges rather than weapons. General Rivera's face darkened. Dr. Morales, may I remind you that you're still a citizen of Earth, regardless of what's been done to your DNA. I haven't forgotten, Elena replied, a hint of anger in her voice. But while you've been debating whether to trust the hybrids, I've been connected to their experiences. They're caught between worlds, feared by humans, used by Arcturians, hunted by Nexari. They deserve better than to be pawns in someone else's war. The tension in the room was broken by another alert. A second transmission was coming through, this one from the Nexari fleet. The being that appeared on screen was unlike anything Elena had expected. It appeared partially reptilian, with iridescent scales and multiple pupils in each eye, clearly the result of extensive genetic modification. I am Sentinel Kexera of the Nexari Convergence, the being announced in a harmonic voice. We address the human Arcturian hybrid entities and their progenitor. Ares looked to Elena, who nodded encouragingly. I am Ares, first of the Earthborn hybrids, he responded formally. The Arcturians claim you as their evolution. We recognize you as their victims, Kexera stated. The convergence offers sanctuary to all hybrid entities willing to renounce Arcturian control. The offer hung in the air, creating yet another possibility, and another division, among their limited options. "This is why I contacted you first," Thaxer said from his still-active transmission. "The Nexari don't offer sanctuary, they offer vengeance. They would use the hybrids against us just as they claim we intended to use them against their forces." "You lie," hissed Kexera. "The convergence was founded on the principle of genetic sovereignty. All beings deserve self-determination over their genetic destiny. While your ancestors were subjects of early Arcturian experiments," Thaxer countered, "they were failing species we saved from extinction through genetic elevation. Through forced evolution and sterilization of those who resisted." Kexera's multiple pupils dilated with anger. Elena raised her hand, silencing both transmissions. "Enough. Your ancient grievances aren't our concern. Earth's survival is." She turned to Ares and Athena, opening their telepathic connection to include the other hybrids who remained in containment. Through this link, they rapidly exchanged perspectives and possibilities, communicating more in moments than they could have in hours of speech. Finally, Ares addressed both alien commanders. "We propose a summit. 3 representatives from each faction, Arcturian, Nexari, and Earth. Plus 3 hybrids as mediators. Neutral ground, neutral terms." "Impossible," General Rivera objected. "We can't allow alien forces on Earth's surface." "Not on Earth," Elena clarified. "On the Moon. The Earth Defense Force has a research base there that could be repurposed." A tense silence followed as each party considered the proposal. Elena knew that both alien forces could easily obliterate the lunar base if negotiations failed, but it was the most neutral ground available within the system. "The convergence accepts these terms," Kexera finally stated. All eyes turned to Thaxer's transmission. The Arcturian commander's gaze remained fixed on Elena. "The collective agrees, with one condition: Elena Morales must be one of the hybrid mediators." "I'm not a hybrid," Elena objected. "Your transformation is nearly complete," Thaxer replied. "Deny it all you wish, but you stand between worlds now, just as they do." His expression softened slightly. "And there are things you need to know, about yourself, about us, about what could be." Elena felt Ares' concern through their telepathic link, along with something else: jealousy. The complex emotions between her and the hybrid she'd helped create had evolved beyond creator and creation, beyond even mother and child, into something neither of them fully understood. "I'll represent Earth," Elena stated firmly. "No," General Rivera interjected. "You're compromised, Dr. Morales. Genetically and emotionally." "Precisely why it must be me," Elena countered. "I understand all 3 perspectives now." As the arguments continued around her, Elena realized that Thaxer had achieved exactly what he wanted, creating division and uncertainty among Earth's defenders. Yet beneath his manipulation, she sensed genuine concern, perhaps even affection. The connection between them was complex and dangerous, but undeniable. Whatever choice she made now would shape not just her future, but that of 2 species, human and hybrid, caught in an ancient conflict they never asked to join. And somewhere in the tangled loyalties and hidden agendas lay the truth about what she was becoming and whether humanity's destiny had. The Lunar Conference Facility, hastily converted from Earth's research outpost, stood silent against the stark landscape of the Moon's surface. Through the reinforced viewport, Elena watched Earth hanging in the blackness, blue, fragile, and utterly unaware of how close it stood to either evolution or annihilation. Her reflection in the glass revealed how far her transformation had progressed. Silver now dominated her once dark hair, and her eyes glowed violet in the dimmed lighting. The genetic modifications had restructured her musculature and neural pathways, granting her strength and sensory perception far beyond human limits. "It's time," Ares said, entering the chamber. He wore a formal uniform designed by Athena, a neutral gray that represented their status as neither human, Arcturian, nor Nexari, but something new. Elena turned to face him, sensing his thoughts even before he spoke them. Their telepathic connection had strengthened to the point where words seemed almost redundant between them. "You're worried about Thaxer's influence on me," she stated. "I'm worried about his obsession with you," Ares corrected. "He doesn't see you as an equal. To him, you're his greatest creation, proof that humans can be elevated into something closer to Arcturian." "And what do you see when you look at me?" Elena asked softly. Ares stepped closer, his presence triggering cascades of neurochemical responses that her enhanced senses could now perceive within herself. "I see the woman who gave me life, who taught me to question, who showed me that being caught between worlds doesn't mean belonging to none." The moment was interrupted as the other delegates arrived. Apollo entered with the Earth representatives, Major Daniels, General Rivera, and Dr. Katri, Earth's leading xenobiologist. They were followed by Athena escorting the Nexari delegation, Sentinel Kexera flanked by two beings of different subspecies, their modified bodies testament to the Arcturians' ancient experiments. Commander Thaxer entered last, accompanied by two high-ranking Arcturians. His eyes immediately sought Elena, a familiar sensation of connection flowing between them, partly the genetic bond he had engineered, partly something more personal that had developed during her captivity. "Let us begin," Elena announced, taking her position at the center of the circular table. "We gather here to prevent conflict and forge a new understanding between our peoples." The negotiations proceeded tensely. The Nexari demanded Arcturian withdrawal from all seeded worlds, including Earth. The Arcturians insisted on continuing their guided evolution programs. Earth's representatives wanted both alien forces to leave their system entirely. Through it all, the hybrids maintained a delicate balance, translating conceptual frameworks between species whose worldviews had diverged over millennia of separate development. During a recess, Thaxer approached Elena in a private chamber. "You've done well," he said. "The hybrids follow your guidance implicitly. They make their own choices," Elena corrected him. "As you've made yours?" Thaxer asked, stepping closer. "Your transformation is nearly complete, Elena. You could be so much more than a mediator between worlds. Together, we could guide the next phase of both our species' evolution." "I've seen your version of guidance," Elena replied coolly. "Control disguised as elevation." "And yet," Thaxer said, reaching out to touch a strand of her silver hair, "you cannot deny what you've become, what we've created together." Elena felt the familiar pull of their connection, stronger in his physical presence. Part of her, the part that was becoming less human with each passing day, responded to him on a level beyond conscious thought. "The Nexari are right about one thing," she said, stepping away from his touch. "Genetic sovereignty matters. Choice matters. Is that why you've been developing the stabilization compound?" Thaxer asked, his expression hardening. "My scientists detected traces of experimental formulations in your quarters aboard my vessel. You've been trying to halt the transformation process." "Not halt," Elena clarified. "Control. There's a difference." Before Thaxer could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. They rushed back to the main chamber to find chaos unfolding. One of the Nexari delegates had collapsed, convulsing violently. "What's happening?" demanded General Rivera. Dr. Katri was scanning the fallen Nexari with portable equipment. "Some kind of genetic cascade failure. His modified DNA is breaking down at the cellular level." Kexera turned accusingly toward Thaxer. "You've deployed a genetic weapon." "This is not our doing," Thaxer protested, though Elena detected uncertainty in his voice. Reaching out with her enhanced senses, Elena detected trace particles in the air, a bioengineered pathogen specifically targeting the unique genetic markers of the Nexari subspecies. "It's an attack," she confirmed grimly, but I don't think it's from anyone in this room. Ares and Apollo had already moved to secure the facility's entrance while Athena attempted to stabilize the stricken Nexary delegate. "Elena," Athena called urgently. "Your research, the stabilization compound. Could it help?" Elena hesitated only briefly before nodding. "It might buy us time." She turned to Thaxer. "I need access to your ship's medical synthesizers." "This is an Arcturian weapon," Kexera insisted, multiple pupils dilating with rage. "Our fleet will respond accordingly." "Wait," Elena commanded, her voice carrying an authority that made everyone pause. "This benefits no one at this table. Think. Who gains from reigniting this conflict now, when we're closest to resolution?" Major Daniel's communication device activated. "Unauthorized ships have entered Earth orbit," reported a voice from Earth Defense Command. "They're not matching either Arcturian or Nexary configurations." Mercenaries, Thaxer realized. There are factions within the collective who oppose any peace with the Nexary. They would see the old conflicts continue rather than accept a new paradigm. "We have the same among the convergents," Kexera acknowledged reluctantly. Elena locked eyes with Ares, a plan forming between them through their telepathic link. "We need to act now, together. The hybrids were created to be the ultimate soldiers. It's time to fulfill that purpose, but on our terms." Within hours, a joint operation was underway. Ares led a team of hybrids, accompanied by both Arcturian and Nexary specialists, to intercept the saboteur vessels. Elena worked feverishly in Thaxer's medical laboratory, adapting her stabilization compound into a countermeasure for the genetic weapon. "The molecular structure is elegant," Thaxer admitted, working alongside her. "Your human intuition combined with Arcturian precision, exactly what I hoped for when I selected you." "You still don't understand," Elena said, not looking up from her work. "What makes this possible isn't your engineering or my genetics. It's choice. The hybrids choose to help because they value both their human and Arcturian heritage. I choose to use what you've done to me for salvation rather than destruction." The stabilization compound proved effective, saving the infected Nexary delegate and providing protection against further biological attacks. Meanwhile, Ares' team neutralized the saboteur vessels, capturing the conspirators from both factions. When they reconvened at the negotiation table, the atmosphere had fundamentally changed. Facing a common enemy had created an unexpected alliance. "Perhaps," Kexera suggested cautiously, "the hybrids represent a possibility we had not considered, a third path beyond eternal conflict." "A new genus," Thaxer agreed, "born from the best of both lineages." General Rivera remained skeptical. "And Earth? We never asked to be part of your evolutionary experiments." "No," Elena acknowledged. "But we are now, irrevocably." She gestured to the hybrids positioned around the room. "They are as much children of Earth as of Arcturus. Their existence changes everything." A new accord gradually took shape. The Arcturians would withdraw their direct influence from Earth but remain in scientific exchange. The Nexary would establish diplomatic relations rather than seek retribution. And most significantly, the hybrids would be recognized as a new, sovereign species with rights and territories of their own, including a settlement on Earth for those who wished to maintain connection with their human heritage. As the delegates finalized the details, Thaxer approached Elena one last time. "You could still join us," he said quietly. "Your place could be among the stars, helping guide the integration of our species." Elena felt Ares watching from across the room, his emotions flowing clearly through their bond. "My place is with them," she replied, indicating the hybrids. "They need someone who understands both what they were created to be and what they can choose to become." "And us?" Thaxer asked, a rare vulnerability in his voice. Elena smiled sadly. "There is no us, Thaxer. There's what you created, what you controlled, what you desired. That's not love or partnership. She touched his face briefly, acknowledging their connection without surrendering to it. Perhaps in time, when you truly understand the difference, we'll meet again as equals. 1 year later, the hybrid settlement in the reclaimed New Mexico desert thrived under the dual light of Earth's sun and the knowledge brought from the stars. Elena stood on a ridge overlooking the compound, watching young hybrids, born naturally rather than engineered, playing in the evening light. Their silver-tinged skin glittered as they practiced their developing abilities under Athena's watchful guidance. Ares joined her at the ridge, his hand finding hers naturally. Their relationship had evolved into something without precedent, part family, part leadership, part partnership. Like the hybrids themselves, it defied easy categorization. The Arcturian delegation arrives tomorrow, he reminded her. Faxer's requesting another meeting. I know, Elena replied. Her transformation had stabilized thanks to her compound, leaving her in a permanent state between human and Arcturian. Silver hair framed a face still recognizably her own, and violet eyes reflected the wisdom gained through their journey. Are you worried? Ares asked. Elena shook her head. No. Whatever Thaxer once meant to me, whatever he tried to make me into, that chapter is closed. We negotiate now as equals, not as creator and creation. She looked back at the settlement where humans and hybrids worked together, where Earth scientists collaborated with Arcturian and Nexari counterparts, where ancient enemies had found an unexpected path to reconciliation through the very beings created for war. This was never about soldiers or weapons, she reflected. It was about evolution, not forced, but chosen. Not isolated, but shared. As the sun set over this first outpost of a new civilization, Elena realized that in transcending the boundaries of species, they had discovered something profound, that the ultimate evolution wasn't physical or genetic, but the capacity to move beyond ancient hatreds and create something entirely new from the fusion of different worlds. The Genesis program had indeed created the ultimate soldiers, not for destruction, but for the more complex and courageous battle of forging peace.